Hi, this is Andrew Trebortha from Fixus Technologies, and this is the first of 4 videos relating to some updates we've just done in Fixus that relate to the NDIS enhancements that we're currently implementing. The first thing I want to look at is probably more an admin and potentially an upfront task that may not need to be done too often, but I'll just go through the various steps that we need to take to get the NDIS sort of back end ready to go. So the first thing I'll do is I'll jump to the administration menu. Please ignore all these other applications we've got in our demo environment, but if you have the right privileges, you should be able to go to administration. Now the very first thing we do is we have to actually switch the NDIS on. Now that's something the Fixus team will do, and that only needs to happen once. So just let us know if you currently don't have the NDIS switched on for PIR, please let us know and we'll do that as quickly as possible. I believe it's on in all of the demo environments at the moment, so you should be able to look at it there. Anyway, the first thing we've got to do after that is start setting up roles, or at least a role that gives access to the NDIS. So to do that, we go to the roles menu option in administration. Now again, please ignore all of these roles we have for our various applications. Let's just hone in on the PIR user, and what you do is you click on this first box here, which currently this user has 99 individual permissions, so we're going to add a few more. And you come in here and you type in PIR user. Oops. Try that again, PIR NDIS I should say, and basically these options here, view, create, update, delete and export, are basically related to the day-to-day maintenance that you'll do on the NDIS tab in case management. This one, the manage, is one more about being able to override the status if there's a mistake's been made with their application process. It allows you to go back a step, or if they're in a review process, but I'll be talking about that in a later video. So once you've set up that role, and you could apply this to multiple roles or apply the manage option to someone else, you just hit save. Now the next thing we've got to do is set up some NDIS document types. Now this is one thing you may come back to again. So what we need to do is we go into category types off the admin menu, and you type in PR case document. Okay, and then click on this number here under the categories heading. Now at the moment we do have one document type called NDIS evidence. What we'll do is we'll add a second one. Some of you have added many of these and got very specific about the actual categories you want to apply to each of the documents that are uploaded related to the NDIS. It's totally up to you. So let's add one. So you just click on add category. What could we call this one? Let's say it's NDIS, and I do recommend putting NDIS in the title. It just makes it easier to spot later. So we'll call it GP referral or something like that. Anyway, this is totally up to you. Save that. Okay, so that's now in our document list. However, it's not yet recognized as specifically as an NDIS document category. So we've now got to go over to off the admin menu, go to modules, and again ignore all of the other applications. Go to view against PIR, and we then go down to this sub-tab NDIS document categories. As you can see, I've already marked the NDIS evidence category as being specific to the NDIS, so let's update that. And I'll now tick NDIS GP referral that I just added and save that. So now those two, what this means is that if any document is uploaded against either of those categories, it will now appear on the NDIS tab under the document sub-tab. Okay, now while I'm here, again I'm in modules, off the admin menu, I'll just jump into NDIS assessments. Now I've already set this up, but basically there are currently two specific NDIS assessments. One is basically a greater level of detail than the other. Again, I'll show you that a bit later. And to just basically indicate that those will be on the NDIS tab, you just basically tick or untick those two items there. All of the rest aren't relevant. Who knows, there may be a new assessment that comes up that's specific to NDIS, so we'll add that when that occurs through this very screen. So save that. Okay, the next thing we've got to do is we go to our lookup lists. There's currently 4 lookup lists that are relevant to the NDIS tab in your case maintenance screen. So we'll jump into lookups. Alrighty, now the first one we need to look at is the GST, and again this one is called PIR NDIS Services Provided GST Codes. Now the 4 lookups that I'm showing you, it's totally up to you as to what you put in these fields. There are other lookups that are related to NDIS, but I think they're fairly set in what we're actually putting into them. So I won't show you how to maintain them because I don't think they'll be changing. So you can set up anything you like here. You might only want to have yes, tax applies, no, tax doesn't apply, and that's it. So, but anyway, to maintain a lookup on the lookup screen, you basically just put in the next number there and then enter a description, and you can put in the sequence, but I'll show you how to reorder. I won't actually add that one because it's silly, but you just click on the add button. The other thing to note with lookups is if you want to modify it, let's just go in and modify one. You click on the blue modify button and we'll just save it, make it that and save. The other thing to note is you can actually delete these codes by clicking on this red X. If the actual code has been referred to in a case, then you won't be able to delete it. However, what you can do is modify it and then untick the active button, and that will now be inactive. So the good thing about this is you don't lose your history. So if you go and view a record that had that lookup, then you'll still see it. However, if you go and insert a new record or modify an existing record, the option to actually use this lookup value will not be there anymore. So now I'll go back and reactivate that and save it. Okay, so that's the GST codes. The next lookup table to modify is probably the most important one, is the NDIS service provided types. Now again, this list is totally up to you. Some of you, like this screen, have really long list. Others might just have supports provided or something like that. Might have 1 or 2 in the list and that's it. So this is totally up to you. And again, if you decide to remove an option, you just come in and make it inactive. If it's never been used, you can obviously delete it. Okay, so I won't bother adding any new ones there because I think we've got plenty. The other one that's fairly important, especially when you're adding expenses, is units of measure. So this basically just lists the unit of measures that we're going to use in our expense configurations on the NDIS tab and the actual expenses logged. So one thing I've just remembered I was going to show you is if you want to reorder the lookups table, you click on the reorder button, and it's probably basically you can just drag the title down to there and save it, and that will be reordered back on the other screen. I might actually see it changes the order there. It doesn't change the code on the left, so I might just chuck that back so it makes a little more sense later on. Okay, and the last the last lookup that I want to show you is one that we've just added in the most recent set of changes, and that is under, where is it, NDIS region. Now some of you have multiple regions that you're looking after, and this is just an optional thing. I would suggest you have a value in here. If there's only one region, just put that single region in that, and that will just default, and I'll show you where that appears later on. But if you are, I know we've spoken to one PHN that's looking after 3 regions, and they want to be able to indicate where their clients are actually situated, so that mostly for reporting purposes. Okay, so really that's all I needed to show you probably in the admin area. I'll go on to the next video and we'll talk about the case search. Thank you.